Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about goals and all of the roadblocks that are stopping you from setting your goals. We are approaching a new month and even a new quarter, and a lot of us are sitting down to think about what's next. What goals am I going to set for that new month or that new quarter? And as of the time that I'm filming this video, we are in a very uncertain time. We are in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic where a lot of us are staying at home. A lot of things are uncertain. Your job, your kids' school, there's so much up in the air right now, and it's normal for that all to feel so overwhelming that you just don't even want to think about your goals. But at the same time, we find ourselves with some extra time. We find ourselves with some added flexibility that we didn't have before because a lot of our commitments no longer exist. So what I want to share with you today are 7 roadblocks that you're running into when it comes to setting your goals. I asked you on Instagram, what is holding you back from setting your goals? And I think that a lot of these things can apply to any time of life. So if you are watching this video way after the coronavirus pandemic is over, I think that these 7 roadblocks still exist. I think that these are things that we come across all the time when it comes to setting our goals. So let's jump right into them. The first one is I don't have the right tools. I personally use the Cultivate What Matters power sheets when it comes to setting my goals, and I love my power sheets. I have videos all over the place about them, and I can't rave enough about them. However, you do not need the power sheets to set and achieve goals. Let me say it again. You don't need the power sheets. I think that they are an incredibly useful tool, but they're not required. You do not need any specific tool, whether it is a planner or a goal setting journal or whatever, to set goals and achieve them. Truthfully, you don't even really need a piece of paper. Now, I do find a lot of value in writing down your goals and having a place to check back in on them and check things off, etc. But guess what? You could do it with your phone. And if you're watching this video, you probably have access to a phone or a computer. Open up a Word doc, open up a notepad on your computer, or open up a notes on your phone and make your goals there. If you want to add a little bit more structure to your goal setting, then do the same thing that we do in the power sheets and break them down by monthly, weekly, and daily things. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be fancy. Roadblock number 2, I don't know what my goals should be, or some variation of this. I can't think of any goals. I'm out of goal ideas. I got a comment on last month's goal video that was like, all of your goals, that's great, but none of those really apply to me. Do you have any other ideas? And I think something that I really want to just remind you of is that goals are unique and goals are personal, and what is going to be a goal for you might not be a goal for me, and vice versa. And I share my goal journey here on YouTube to inspire you and encourage you to go on your own goal journey, not necessarily to just do all of the same things that I'm doing, because our goals are all going to be different. So I want you to keep that in mind when you can't think of what your goals should be, and maybe you're trying to find ideas and all these people that you follow and all this content that you watch, and you're like, but none of that feels right. I'm gonna give you 2 actionable ways to work on your goals, to work on figuring out what you want your goals to be. The first one is gonna sound really counterproductive to roadblock number 1, but it's gonna be the power sheets. If you have the power sheets and you've already worked through the prep work, go back, go flip through all of those pages. You did 30 something pages of questions and thoughts down on paper. Go flip through. There are probably some ideas that you came up with months ago that you've completely forgotten about. If you have the power sheets and you haven't worked through the prep work, I would do that. I would make your goal for the next month to just finish the prep work. If you don't have the power sheets, but you have a little bit of extra spending room in your budget this month, maybe you're not eating out as much because you're staying at home, or maybe you don't have commuting costs because you're working from home. Having the power sheets prep work to look back on to figure out what it is that you want to accomplish in life or accomplish in the next 365 days to help you set your goals is incredibly, incredibly powerful. By the way, right now, the 12-month set of power sheets is sold out for 2020, but they have the 6-month version, which is less expensive, and it has 6 months of undated goal setting work. The prep work at the beginning of the 6-month set is exactly the same as all of our 12-month sets. So you have all the exact same goal setting goodness that we all got for the 12 months. It's just the follow-up. There's only 6 months worth, and they are undated. If you do not have the power sheets and you don't currently have the budget to purchase them, here is action number 2 to figuring out what your goals are. What are the things that inspire you? I want you to take a piece of paper and I want you to write down what you want to achieve in life. I am talking big picture. Like when I did this exercise, I wrote down, I want to be a mom. I wrote down, I want to retire at a reasonable age. I wrote down, I'm talking big picture, long term. What are the things that you want to do in life? Then what they had us do was go through and circle anything that you could get done within a year. And you went through and you circled anything that could be done in a year. Maybe it's, I want to read more books, or maybe it's, I want to live a healthier lifestyle, or maybe it's a subset of something. So maybe one of yours was, I want to live a super long life. Living a healthier lifestyle is going to help you get to that longer goal. Do you see what I'm saying? So think about these things that you want to accomplish in the long term, and they may seem so far away. Well, what can you do right now to help you achieve that long-term thing? And that is your short-term goal. All right, number 3, I haven't done the prior months, or I haven't finished last month's stuff. I get it. It is very unmotivating when you look at a prior month and there is all this empty space, all these things that you didn't check off and all these things you didn't do, or you just completely skipped a month. I had somebody message me and saying, I haven't even done January. Turn the page. Just turn the page. It is so much more invigorating and motivating to look at a brand new page of a brand new month with fresh goals. Maybe some of them are carryover from prior months, but it's so much more exciting than to stare at those old goals that you haven't finished. And maybe some of them are important enough that you carry them over, and maybe some of them aren't. Maybe you just drop them and just forget about them. But I'm telling you, if you dwell on these prior months that you didn't finish or that you didn't do, it is going to be a huge roadblock for you continuing to move forward. So you've got to embrace Timon and Pumbaa, and you got to put the past behind you, because there's nothing you can do about it. The past is in the past, and you just gotta let it go and turn the page. And I know that it can be really hard, especially if you've spent money on something like the power sheets and you're like, oh, but I didn't use it these first 3 months. You're never gonna get those months back anyway. So you might as well just turn the page and start fresh with a new month. And I'm telling you, even if you're carrying over, like if you watch my goals video going up later this week, I am carrying a lot over from March because I didn't get a lot done in March. March was a little bit all over the place. So I'm carrying it over to April, but that is more motivating to look at April, even if half of it is a repeat from the prior month, than to look at that March page with all of these empty spaces, knowing that March is already over. All right, number 4, and I heard this one a lot. I don't have time. I got a lot of comments saying, I'm super busy right now. I am incredibly busy. Work is crazy. I don't have time. And I'm going to break this up into 2 categories. There's I don't have time to set my goals, and then there's I don't have time to work on my goals. So let's start here. I don't have time to set my goals. And my biggest piece of advice for this one, which is really hard, I know you don't want to hear it, and it is just to set aside time to do it. Put it in your planner and protect that time. Protect it. It is so precious. This is your time to set goals to help you be a better version of you. But here's the good news. It doesn't take that long. One of the things that the team over at Cultivate What Matters started doing this year, which I love. So again, this is if you have the power sheets, or even if you don't, they have a podcast that is helping you work through each month to set your goals for the upcoming month. And the best part, it's 20 minutes long. It does not take you that long to sit down, assess how last month went, and set the new goals for the next month. It is not a huge time-consuming process. And I understand that right now, it might be really hard for you to find even 20 minutes to sit down and set your goals. Can you find 10? Can you find 10 minutes to sit down and do that and maybe only have half the goals? If you're super busy with work anyways, your goal list is probably not going to be very big. We'll talk about that. But can you find 10 minutes for yourself with a cup of coffee, cup of tea, glass of wine, and set your goals for the next month and just protect that 10 minutes. Now, if the concern is, I don't have any time to work on my goals because I'm swamped. Work is crazy. My kids are at home right now. And just everything is all over the place and I don't have time to work on my goals. Here are a couple ways to still fit your goals into your super busy schedule. The first one is make it really small. Take itty bitty baby steps. Maybe it's 5 minutes of something. Maybe it's making sure that you drink a glass of water when you wake up in the morning. Maybe it's making sure that you hug your spouse at night before you go to bed and tell them that you love them and you're thankful for them. Like, it doesn't have to be huge to make an impact on your life. Those little tiny baby things add up so quickly, you won't even realize the impact that they're having on your life. So don't feel like that just because you're putting down something really small and really easy doesn't mean it doesn't have an impact on your progress, on your overarching goals. This is a crazy time right now. And if your goals, for instance, I'll give you a spoiler to one of my goals for April. I wanted the goal to be have a vegetable with breakfast. because that, like, for the longest time has been the thing that I wanted to make my goal. But when I finally came down to do it, given the current situation and the fact that we're trying not to go to the grocery store as much and things are just crazy, I put down have a vegetable a day. That's the goal for April, is just to have a vegetable a day, because that's just how things are right now. So whatever that means for you, break it down into baby steps. My second tip for this is multitasking is actually okay. There are times that multitasking actually works. And if you are doing something mindless, so you are driving to work, if you're still going to work, you are walking on a treadmill or on a stationary bike, what can you do during that time that's related to your goals? So can you listen to a podcast of something that's related to a goal? Can you take an online course while you're walking on the treadmill? What in your life can you multitask so that you are still making progress on your goals while doing all these other things that you have to do? One of the big ones for me is I listen to a podcast while I cook dinner now. I used to just like have SVU on my laptop in the kitchen, and sometimes I still watch TV while I cook, but I try to listen to a podcast, something related to the goals that I'm working on. That way that time is useful. So what in your life can you actually multitask on purpose to help you make progress on your goals? And the third tip that I have for not having time for your goals is maybe reassess what your goals need to be given the season that you're in. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more later related to another roadblock. But given the current situation, and whether that's right now during this pandemic or whether that's sometime down the road and things are crazier for a different reason, what do you need to shift within your goals to make it something that is important and valuable given the season that you're in? And it will feel more applicable and therefore have more meaning. So for example, if things are crazy at work right now because you are an essential part of this situation and you are still having to work or having to work more than you're used to, what are some of those work-related goals? Can you make sure that you're documenting all of the things that you're doing so that you can share that in your year-end review with your boss? So maybe it's weekly, I'm gonna take 10 minutes to write down all the things that I did. For me right now, friendship was already on my goal for the year. That was already one of my big overarching goals. But right now, more than ever, I want to make sure that I'm still connecting with my friends, especially because we don't get to see each other in person until who knows when. And so one of my goals is to check in with a friend every single day. And that may have been able to be a goal at some other point in the future, and it may have made sense, but it really makes sense right now. And so just think about the season that you're in and maybe shifting your goals to fit that season, even if it feels like you're going off the path a little bit from what you had said at the beginning of the year. That's okay. All right, number 5. This is the other big one that I got a lot. How am I supposed to plan my goals when the future is so uncertain? I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I don't know what next week looks like. I don't know what the rest of the month is going to look like. How on earth am I supposed to set goals? So the first thing I wrote down in response to this is the future is always uncertain. You never know what the future is going to hold. Things are always going to change. Things are always going to pop up. Let's hope that they're not always going to pop up on this magnitude, but they're always going to pop up and things are always going to change. And that is just part of being human and living life. And so I think we just have to do our best. And again, this one is really hard too. We just have to do our best to make a decision and to set a goal that is going to hopefully work for the foreseeable future. So for example, I went in to actually the entire second quarter. I set all of my second quarter goals thinking that this is exactly how life is going to be for 3 more months. I hope that that's not true. I hope that we are not in this situation in the next 3 months, but I set my goals with that mindset. What goals can I still make progress on without leaving the house? And I kept that in mind when I set my second quarter goals. And then even more so when I went into my April goals was really, if this is exactly the same, if this is how life is for the next 30 days, what can I work on? And I think the biggest thing you have to do right now is focus on what you can control. What is within your control? Because there's a lot going on right now in the world that is out of your control, and I understand that. So take this time, let your goals be what you can control. You might not be able to control when your kids are going back to school. All right, if your kids aren't going back to school for 30 days, what do your goals look like? And maybe things will change and there will be a surprise and something will come up and that's for the better. But for now, we have to operate within what we know. So what do we know and what can we control? And that is how you have to approach your goals this time of life, and a lot of times in life, truthfully, because it's always uncertain and we never know what's going to happen. There are a lot of times in life that you've got to pivot. All right, number 6, I got this one a lot too, and this one was very true for me a few weeks ago. I don't feel motivated. I don't have any motivation. I don't have any energy. With everything that's going on right now, I just don't even care. Like, I have no motivation, and I feel you. A couple weeks ago, that was me. I literally slept, worked my 9 to 5 from 9 to 5 sitting at my desk, and drank wine and watched TV. That is what I did for like 6 days straight. And that's just where I was. That was my mental state, and that's just how I was reacting to what was going on. I have a couple tips for getting through this sort of unmotivated funk. The first one is, can you make your goals something that you're actually excited about? Maybe it's building a Lego set, okay? I have Legos on the brain because I just got done building a Lego set and it was so fun. Maybe your goals next month are to watch this movie and to read this very fun fiction book that's not for any sort of personal development. Can you make your goals things that you're actually excited to do? I know that right now there are probably a lot of things that you want to do that you can't do because they are outside of your house. But are there things that you are excited about doing in this downtime? And can those be your goals? They can, by the way. You can make your goals whatever you want. So make your goals things that you're actually excited about. Number 2 is, maybe your goals need to be a lot more mental health focused right now. I think a lot of us are struggling in different ways to get through this emotionally and mentally. And I always try to include some sort of mental health goal in my goals anyways. But right now, more than ever, what does that look like for you? Is it watching the news? Is it not watching the news? Is it going to bed early? Is it sleeping in? Whatever mental health looks like for you, what do you need right now to improve your mental state? And that, again, that's gonna be so different for every single person. And I'm not here to tell you what you need, but I'm here to tell you you should make your goals what you need. And while you wanna have all this motivation to do all these things, especially if you're stuck at home, I should be decluttering all of the things and I should be all these home projects that I wanted to do. But if you're not there right now, that's okay. And your goals need to reflect that, where you are right now. But I think that you should still make them goals. I think that there should still be something that you're working towards, even if it's mentally exactly what you need right now. The next tip I have for this is to make it easy. This goes back to the time one, so make it super, super small and bite-sized. Make it something that's really easy, because the snowball effect of achieving that makes it so much easier to keep going. And I am so guilty of this. Don't just try to wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm gonna get out of my funk and I'm just gonna do everything that I said I was gonna do and be totally motivated and ready to go tomorrow. Unfortunately, that's not realistic. You are much better off setting these tiny, bite-sized, easy. That's the key word here. Make it easy for you. Make whatever that goal is super easy. So if your goal is to read as soon as you wake up in the morning, have the book sitting by the coffee machine, or have the book by your fridge because you go fill up your water. Wherever you go first thing in the morning, have your book there waiting for you. Make it easy to work on your goals. That way you're more likely to follow through with them. And the last tip related to this goal, which you're gonna hate me because I hated when people would tell me this too, you've gotta remember the why. Why is this a goal for you? Willpower is hard. It's hard to have enough of it. It's hard to keep going. People say it's a muscle, and if you work it, it gets easier. And I still haven't figured that out yet. But I know that when I think back to the reason why, and it has to be good and it has to be motivating, I'm much more likely to do whatever it is that I said I was gonna do. And the why, it has to be meaningful. It has to be motivating. And maybe your why right now is just to survive and just to get through this and to be you on the other side of it. And so maybe you need these mental health goals to help you be that person. Well, whatever that why is for you right now, you've got to remember it, because otherwise the motivation is never gonna be there. All right, the last one, which I heard a few times, is I can't afford it right now, or my finances are all over the place because of the situation. And maybe that's applicable to you right now during this pandemic, or maybe it's applicable down the road where finances for you are a little bit harder. And so there are goals that just don't seem realistic. Like, one of my goals is to do an online course. Well, that's not free. And so there are goals that seem unattainable because they're not free. But the good news is there are a lot of ways to work on your goals that are free. There are a lot of things that you can do to make progress on big goals that you have in your life without spending a dime. So for example, if reading more is one of your goals, I feel like I keep talking about that one because it's one of my goals, go to the library. Okay, right now you can't go to the library, but what you can do is download the Kindle app on your phone and rent books from your library for free and read them on your phone. If one of your goals is to work out more, and normally you would say, oh, I'm gonna join a gym and I'm gonna commit. That's what I did, and I was going to the gym and I love the gym. But now I don't get to go to the gym. And so I found a YouTuber, free YouTube videos that I actually enjoy. Still not as good as going to the gym. I don't like working out in my living room, but it's better than nothing. There are a lot of options, a lot of ways that you can still make progress on your goals without paying for anything. And if you're struggling with ideas, I want you to let me know down in the comments what your goals are, and I want to help you come up with ideas of ways that you can do that using a ton of free resources that you have at your fingertips. A lot of them right here on YouTube. So let me know down in the comments what those goals are and what you're struggling with. All right, that is it. Those are the 7 major roadblocks that you said you're struggling with when it comes to setting your goals right now during this uncertain time, and probably a lot of the time not during a pandemic as well. Let me know down in the comments, are there any other roadblocks? Is there anything that you struggle with when it comes to setting your goals? I would love to help you out. Let me know if this video was helpful. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Happy planning. I hate that intro. Let me try that again. It is the middle of the coronavirus, having the power, they're upside down.